The sun blazed like a spotlight over the cul-de-sac, casting long, slow-moving shadows as the smell of mesquite and grilled brisket curled through the trees. It was supposed to be a quiet afternoon, just a reunion. 4 of us, retired SWAT brothers, finally back together after years of blood, grit, and silence. The backyard was prepped like a war camp, but instead of body armor, we carried spatulas and beers. Laughter echoed. For the first time in years, we weren't warriors. Just men, just friends. Jason manned the smoker like it was an entry breach. Darnell handled the music-hold rock ballads blaring over his Bluetooth speaker. Tyler, the quiet one, scanned the perimeter like it was muscle memory. And me? I was just glad to see their faces again. My name's Marcus, and this was my home. My land. My rules, but someone wasn't happy about our little gathering from across the fence. Eyes watched, cold, calculating, judging. It was Karen Hollingsworth, president of the HOA. She stood at her porch in her signature lavender pantsuit, a phone glued to her ear like a weapon. She'd complained before about grass-length trash cans, the color of my mailbox, but today she didn't say a word. She just stared. At 4:13 p.m., 2 black SUVs rolled up. No sirens, no lights. But the second they parked, 6 men in cheap tactical gear stepped out. No name tags, no insignias. Just stiff movements and mirrored sunglasses. The kind of guys who didn't know how to hold a real weapon. BBQ's over. One of them barked, stepping onto my lawn like he paid taxes here. I stepped forward slowly, nodding at Jason. Tyler already had his hand behind his back. Old habits. Darnell muted the music. Badge? I asked, calm as the eye of a storm. We don't need one. The guy said, flashing what looked like a Halloween prop. Requested intervention. Too much noise. Public safety. Public safety? I looked into his eyes and saw something familiar. Not training, not discipline, fear, and adrenaline. These weren't real cops. They weren't even real threats, but they had no idea who they were messing with, and as I took a step forward, I knew one thing. They were about to learn what happens when you send fake cops to crash a real SWAT reunion. The man with the fake badge took another step onto my lawn boots, crunching gravel, swagger full of arrogance but not training. His hand hovered near the airsoft holster clipped to his belt like he thought it gave him power. I could smell the plastic. Jason flicked his tongs, slow and deliberate, like a gunslinger stretching fingers before a duel. Darnell cracked his knuckles. Tyler shifted his weight, subtle, precise, the way he used to before breaching a door. I held up a hand, calm, controlled. Boys, I said, my voice low and even. Stand down for now. The leader of the intruders, slick hair, sunglasses, a jawline trying too hard, smirked. You have 10 minutes to shut this down or we'll issue citations. Interference will escalate consequences. He actually used the word escalate. Cute. I could see Karen watching from her porch, sipping lemonade like it was her front row seat to a soap opera. Her little white dog barked nonstop, almost in sync with her smug grin. This wasn't just about noise. No, this was about control. She wanted to flex. She wanted to show the whole street that not even trained operators could make a move without her permission. Too bad. We weren't the kind to be intimidated. As they turned back to their SUVs, planning who knows what next, I whispered to the crew. That gear's from surplus sites, no tactical patches. Guns aren't even regulation. I'd bet my pension those aren't even real cops. Jason narrowed his eyes. So what the hell are they? Rent-a-cops at best, Darnell said. Or HOS little fantasy soldiers. Tyler finally spoke. They didn't scan the perimeter. No security formations. One guy left the back hatch of the SUV wide open. They're amateurs, I said, but amateurs with a mission. That's when the music speaker sparked. Pop, sizzle, silence. We all froze. Smoke rose from the base of the unit, fried, sabotaged. Jason growled. That wasn't a surge. That was a signal. Before I could answer, I felt the vibration in my pocket, a motion alert from my backyard cam. I'd pulled out my phone, heart suddenly racing. 2 more men, dressed in black. Climbing my fence. Tyler leaned over and stared at the feed. They're flanking us. My fists clenched around the phone. Karen was trying to corner us, and she thought we'd just back down like scared suburban dads. Jason, kill the lights. Darnell, get the kids inside. Tyler, back door coverage. I stepped toward the smoker and lifted the hidden compartment beneath the propane tank. My old duffel was still there. Dusted, aged, but ready. I unzipped it slowly. Side gleamed cold steel, polished and precise. My custom Glock, my tactical comes, and something else, a plan. This BBQ wasn't going to end with burgers and beers. No, not anymore. It was about to become a counter-operation. Silence fell like a storm cloud, not the peaceful kind. The kind before a breach. Before things break and don't go back together the same, I zipped the duffel shut, just enough to keep the glint of steel from catching the wrong eyes. My mind went back to Kandahar, Bogota, even that old bank. Siege in Philly. This wasn't just muscle memory. This was instinct. And instincts don't retire from the corner of the yard. Jason cut the string lights, plunging the patio into deep, dusky shadow. Tyler reappeared by the back porch, silent as wind. Darnell's silhouette moved swiftly across the house, ushering my wife and daughter inside with a calm smile. But his eyes were sharp, his pace just shy of a sprint. I clicked the coms into place behind my ear. Team check. Jason, left flank, eyes on SUV, 2 clowns still in the front seats arguing. Tyler, back fence, movement slowed, they're regrouping. Darnell, civvies secured, house on lockdown. I nodded, heart steady. This wasn't a battle, not yet. But it was close. I slipped through the side of the yard, moving low, tracking the fence line with practiced grace. The camera feed on my phone confirmed 2 of them were crouched just behind the hydrangeas, trying to stay low, trying to be something they weren't. Real operators don't hide in flower beds. I climbed onto the garden box silently, peering through the slats. There they were, 2 men in black palas and cargo pants, both holding what looked like tasers. No trigger discipline. One was filming the other with his phone, whispering something about getting proof. Karen wanted drama. She was making her own reality show, but then I saw it. Zip ties, heavy duty. ZIP ties in one of their back pockets. This wasn't just about shutting down the BBQ, they were planning to restrain us. I tapped my come twice code. For hostile intent confirmed. That's when Jason whispered, "Screw this. I'm going active." "No," I hissed. "We don't break first." But it was too late. A sharp whistle cut through the night air. One of the SUV guys had stepped out and shouted, "Perimeter clear?" One of the guarding creeps stood to answer, and that was his mistake. Tyler dropped him in 2 steps. Fast, clean, not lethal, but devastating. The man hit the ground with a grunt, wind knocked clean from his lungs. His taser flew. The second one bolted toward the fence, but I was already there. I caught his shirt mid-run, spun him, and pinned him to the wood. He tried to punch, rookie mistake. I deflected and swept his leg. He hit the dirt hard. "Who sent you?" I growled. He spat. "HOA president. Said you were dangerous. Said you had illegal weapons. Said you were ex-military nuts." I pressed harder on his arm. "Wrong, we're ex-SWAT." His eyes widened. Just then, the front of the house exploded in headlights. The SUVs were repositioning, and a third vehicle, a black unmarked van, was rolling in from down the block. Fast, silent. Jason's voice crackled in my ear. Breath tight. "We've got more incoming." I looked down at the guy I'd just pinned. Who the hell is in that van? But he didn't answer, because he was smiling now, like something worse was coming. The black van came to a stop with surgical precision. No squealing tires. No headlights. Left on. This wasn't some a stunt anymore. This was coordinated. I signaled Tyler to fall back and regroup. Jason slid into the shadows behind the smoker, silent but coiled like a predator. Darnell's voice came through the coms low, urgent. "Marcus?" "That van's armored, military grade. I just saw Kevlar." My gut twisted. Something was wrong. Deeply, dangerously wrong. I turned to the man still on the ground, the one I'd pinned at the fence. He was groaning, but that smug smirk hadn't left his face, so I leaned in close. "Who sent you?" He didn't blink, didn't breathe. She paid us to make you disappear. I froze. Karen? He laughed, short and sharp. She called us pests, said you were dangerous ex-cops with illegal weapons. Said if we handled it quietly, she'd triple the fee. Handled it? I repeated, a cold fire rising in my chest. She didn't want arrests, he muttered. She wanted body bags. A long silence filled my ear. Jason finally broke it. Marcus, she tried to hit us with a contract kill. I stared at the man, my voice barely a whisper. How much? 10 grand per head. Everything inside me stilled. Karen had sent fake cops to provoke us, but when that didn't work, she escalated. She hired mercs. Maybe ex-private security, maybe washed-up paramilitary types. The kind who work for cash and don't ask questions. Tyler's voice was dead calm. Permission to engage? I didn't answer right away, because at that moment I heard the front door creak open. My wife. Too soon, she stepped out, holding her. Phone, Marcus, the police just called me back. They said there's no record of a disturbance filed. And, her voice trembled, they said there are no officers dispatched to our address. That was the final piece. No cops. No warrants. And the van outside wasn't from any agency. We were being set up. For an ambush, I spoke softly into the comms, every syllable coated in frost. Status. Defensive lockdown. We're under targeted attack. This is now a domestic tactical breach. Jason, weapons primed. Tyler, rear secured. I've got eyes on the van. Darnell, tell me when to flip the switch. I helped the wounded fake cop up and shoved him toward the bush. Get out. Crawl if you have to. You come back, we won't be so kind. And as he vanished into the dark, I looked toward Karen's porch. She was standing in her lavender pantsuit, holding a glass of wine, watching it all unfold. She raised the glass like she was toasting our deaths, but she didn't know us. Didn't know what men like us are willing to do when our families are threatened. And she definitely didn't know what it means when SWAT goes off the leash. Because tonight, we weren't just fighting for our BBQ, we were fighting for everything. The first thing I heard was the hiss of hydraulics. The back doors of the armored van opened clean, silent, methodical. 2 boots hit the pavement. Then 2 more. Then 6 more. 5 men total, tall, loaded, focused. They wore matte black gear with no insignias. No names. Just numbers stenciled across their chests. 4, 6, 7, 9. All odd men missing. They weren't HOA volunteers. They weren't mall cops. These guys were real, hired guns. Their formation was tight. Their rifles were real, and their eyes. Dead. Tyler's voice cut through the comms. 5-man strike team. Full tactical gear, looks like SMIL or contractor trained. Jason. Flanking now, I'll slow 'em. Darnell. Kids are in the safe room. Back door triple locked. I'm with your wife. She's scared, man. I gritted my teeth. Scared? That's exactly what they wanted, but we weren't built for fear. We were built for war. And I'd be damned if I let my backyard become a battlefield. Without making them bleed for every inch, I gave the word, breach protocol Delta. That was all it took. Jason moved. First he popped a smoke grenade from beneath the smoker, and the backyard exploded into a thick gray mist. The grill hissed and coals scattered like sparks in a forge. It bought us seconds. Just seconds, enough for Tyler to slip behind the maple tree with his suppressed sidearm. Enough for me to cross the patio and unlock the hidden latch beneath. The deck revealing our cache. 10 years ago, we buried it there for just in case. Tonight was that case. I pulled out the tactical flashbangs, passed them off to Jason, then grabbed the reinforced Kevlar vest, still intact, still ours. The first of the mercs entered the backyard. Number 2, he raised his weapon, but Jason dropped from the shadows like a storm cloud. Slammed him to the ground. Disarmed him, and dragged him behind the shed. Quick, quiet, clean, 1 down, the other 4 reacted. But they were slow in smoke. Number 4 fired. Wild. Untrained panic. Tyler retaliated with precision. 2 in the vest. 1 in the thigh, not fatal, but enough to drop him. Jason and I converged, zip-tied, gagged, disarmed. Tactical sweep. 2 down. Number 6 tried to run back to the van. That was his mistake, because Darnell was already out front. He stepped from behind the cedar tree like a ghost, struck the guy clean across the face with a baton once, twice, then kneed him in the gut. The man crumpled, and Darnell just whispered, "You messed with the wrong dads." Backyard, clear, except for one last sound, the click of a safety being turned off. Number 9. The leader. He stepped from the smoke, face masked, rifle aimed directly at my wife through the kitchen window. He didn't even flinch. "Come out," he shouted, "or she dies." Everything stopped. Tyler froze. Darnell's hands curled into fists. Jason looked to me. I walked slowly into the open, no vest, no weapons drawn, just me. He laughed. "One of you thinks you're a hero, huh?" I didn't speak because I was waiting for the sound only I would recognize. Click, snap, whir, from above. The drone I'd installed weeks ago spun into position. It hovered silently, locked onto the rifle's heat signature, and fired a low-voltage EMP burst, enough to fry electronics within a 5-foot radius. His rifle sparked, died. My wife ducked, screamed, rolled away just in time. Tyler fired. One clean shot through the shin. Number 9 hit the dirt, howling, but I didn't approach yet, because across the street, Karen was standing at the end of her driveway, dialing a number and laughing. This wasn't her endgame. This was just her opening move. The smoke had cleared. 3 men lay zip-tied in the grass. 1 was unconscious. 2 were moaning. All of them defeated. The BBQ was long cold. But the war had just hit boiling point across the street. In that pristine little house with the lavender shutters and the tulip wreath, Karen Hollingsworth stood in the glow of her porch light, holding her phone like a remote control to a show. She thought she directed. She didn't even flinch as we approached. Not when Jason stepped out, bruised but grinning. Not when Tyler carried one of the mercs by the collar like a wet towel. Not even when I stood at the edge of her lawn, looking her dead in the eyes. "Oh, Marcus," she said, swirling her wine like a villain in a soap opera. "You overreacted. This was just an intervention." "Fake police?" I replied. "Paid mercenaries, zip ties and rifles." "That's not intervention. That's conspiracy." She raised her eyebrows. "Prove it." Behind me, Darnell lifted the camcorder we'd pulled off number 2's chest. The red light blinked. "It's all on tape," he said. "The orders. The setup. Even your voice, Karen. You didn't cover your tracks." "Still," she smiled, "you think anyone's going to care? This is mine. The board answers to me. The county commissioner? My bridge partner, police chief's wife? She's in my book club." She stepped closer, venom in every step. "Do you really think a bunch of washed-up SWAT officers are going to bring me down?" I pulled out my phone and hit send. "You're right," I said. "We can't. But 2.6 million followers on our Veterans Unmasked channel? Oh, they can." Her smile cracked. "You streamed this?" She gasped. "Every last minute." Tyler chimed in. "You wanted a show, Karen. We gave you prime time." She looked around, suddenly aware of the flashing porch cameras, the neighbors peeking through blinds, the red and blue lights finally rounding the corner. Karen's reign was over, not with a bang, but with a viral confession. Caught in 4K. The real cops arrested the mercs. The HOA board was dissolved 2 days later. Karen? She's facing charges from conspiracy to attempted assault with intent. As for us, we're back to grilling. Quiet now, peaceful, no drama. Just smoke, ribs, and stories. But there's one thing I want to leave you with before I shut off the lights. Next time someone tries to crash your barbecue, make sure they know you don't mess with veterans. Especially not SWAT. And if you thought this was wild, wait till you hear what happened when she tried to sue us from jail. So do yourself a favor. Smash that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Because on this street, the stories are just heating up.